Alert day conditions are less than 24 hours away from southern Wisconsin. During this newscast, I'll use Future Track to let you know when you can expect those thunderstorms in your neighborhood.
The man accused of abducting a pregnant Beaver Dam teenager returns to court. How Gary Day pleaded. And a year out from next year's governor's race, we talked with Governor Tony Evers about whether he will throw his hat into the ring once again. You're watching News 3 now at 5. Thanks for joining us. I'm Eric Franke. Susan is off tonight, and we are keeping an eye on the weather before a very busy Wednesday in Madison. Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington in studio. Hot again today with alert day tomorrow. And when could we see these storms, Alex?
From noon to 7 p.m. is when we're expecting that line of thunderstorms. Some of those storms could be strong to severe gusty winds. We can't rule out some large hail. We also can't rule out a couple of isolated tornadoes. And this is really for all of southern Wisconsin. Again, I want to emphasize here noon to 7 p.m. And that's an important time frame as we have multiple activities. For example, concerts on the square takes place at 7 o'clock, weather permitting, of course. This level out of 2 risk is for much of southern Wisconsin. What level out of 2 slight means is that scattered severe thunderstorms are likely, especially from Platteville to Lone Rock to the Dells to Madison and areas off towards the east during that time frame, gearing up in southwest Wisconsin out towards Prairie du Chien and Viroqua as we head around noon, and then getting to Madison approximately 4 or 5 o'clock tomorrow evening, and then east of Madison as we head towards past 6 o'clock. Heavy rainfall, we can't rule that out with this line of thunderstorms, and also damaging winds, the primary threats, but we also could be looking at the potential for some large hail, and we could be looking at a lower end potential for a few tornadoes. Very similar situation that we had last Friday, and coming up in Maine weather, I'll use Future Track to show you those similarities in how this weather event looks to pan out across southern Wisconsin and the storm chance that you can expect and when in your neighborhood. And that's when you join me in a couple minutes.
All right, Alex, thank you. The man accused of abducting a Beaver Dam teenager, triggering multiple statewide Amber Alerts, is pleading not guilty. Gary Day appeared in Dodge County Court today. Our Jalen Banks was there and explains what happened in that courtroom.
Gary Day, the 40-year-old Arkansas man accused of abducting a Beaver Dam teenager, appeared at the Dodge County Courthouse Tuesday afternoon for an arraignment.
25 CF 54, State of Wisconsin, Gary Francis Day.
Gary Day was extradited from Nebraska and faces 4 felony charges, including child abduction and enticement. Day's bond is set for $2 million. Authorities say Day is the father of the unborn child of 17-year-old Sophia Franklin. Franklin went missing in February, prompting multiple statewide Amber Alerts, and was found in April. Day is from Arkansas and is accused of taking Sophia Franklin to Arkansas and as far west as Oregon.
Your Honor, the discovery in this case is pretty significant. I'm asking for 90 days.
90. Any objection?
No.
During Tuesday's arraignment, Day pled not guilty. Now he's set to have a scheduling conference on October 7th at 8:15 a.m. We requested an interview with Day's attorney after the arraignment. They said they're not taking any questions at this time. For now, reporting from the Dodge County Courthouse, Jalen Banks, News 3 Now.
Jalen, thank you. You can find all of our coverage on this case at our website, channel3000.com. In Iowa County, a man from West Allis has been arrested after police say he was driving a stolen vehicle near Dodgeville. The Iowa County Sheriff's Office says around 4 yesterday afternoon, a stolen vehicle was reported at a business on North John Street near the post office. A deputy later found the unoccupied vehicle behind a hotel on State Road 23 just north of Dodgeville. A canine unit then helped find a 33-year-old man who the deputy said matched the suspect's description. He was arrested for driving a vehicle without the owner's consent. An update now to a story we brought you yesterday at 5. Firefighters say that a shed fire was put out after nearly 9 hours in Iowa County. It was in the town of Brigham. A fire in a building with hay was reported about 12:30 yesterday afternoon. Over a dozen departments responded. It's unclear how much damage was done. We have not heard about any injuries. In Sauk County, the city of Baraboo is receiving a $24 million loan from the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Wisconsin Rural Development Department. That money will be used to build a new central fire station and a smaller satellite station. The building there now was built back in 1868 with an addition made in 1957. The new facilities will include staff support areas, living quarters, bays, and more to accommodate a larger staff. Officials say this facility will increase efficiency and also enhance community response times. Madison's Urban Forestry Division is reminding locals that incorrectly applying weed killers near trees can damage or even kill those trees. An herbicide damaged tree shows discolored leaves, cupping leaves, and limited leaf development. To protect your trees, the Urban Forestry Division recommends avoiding lawn chemicals and pulling weeds as appropriate, especially around trees, adding, if you must use chemicals, use a granular application. If your tree is damaged, you can help it recover with correct placement of mulch around the base, regular watering, and keeping mowers and trimmers away from the trunk. Well, Welch's is the latest of several major companies to announce it's eliminating artificial food dyes. The company says it'll only use colors from natural sources by early next year. Yesterday, a trade group for ice cream makers pledged to remove artificial coloring from many treats by 2028. This comes amid a health push from Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who blames the food industry for many of America's chronic health problems. CBS News medical contributor Dr. Celine Gounder says while there is evidence synthetic dyes can cause issues, this is a red herring for bigger threats to our health.
Red dye number 3, which the FDA wants to eliminate by 2027, has also been shown to cause tumors in rats. However, the levels at which humans are exposed to these artificial food dyes are exceedingly low, and the health risks really pale in comparison with the health risks of the added salt, sugar, and fat in processed foods.
Well, this week, the FDA approved a 4th natural dye in the last 2 months. Gardenia Blue is made with soy protein. The agency is still deciding if it has to be labeled as an allergen. We're a little more than a year out from next year's governor's race, but already pressure is mounting for Governor Tony Evers to declare whether he will run for re-election. Our political reporter Will Keneally is following the governor as he makes official trips across the state. He's in Rock County with more.
That's right. We traveled with the governor down here to Beloit. Now, he didn't give us many details about whether he will decide to run for re-election or not, but he did offer this up.
It'll happen. I'll be making that decision in the near future.
We will expect to know soon whether Governor Evers will try for a 3rd term, as he told reporters at a ribbon cutting in Beloit on Tuesday. This comes after an intense budget fight earlier this month, with Evers cutting a last-minute deal with legislative Republicans to get a budget across the finish line.
I mean, am I satisfied with the results? No.
The governor says there's still more that he wants to fund with state dollars, but that compromise reached with lawmakers is a good starting point.
So we've heard from some education advocates a little bit frustrated by this budget, especially the general aid for K-12 schools. How do you assuage any of their concerns?
Well, I don't believe, obviously, they believe what they want to believe. But at the end of the day, we put a whole bunch of money into what was asked of us, and that was to put it into special education.
Some districts, like the Madison district, wanted special education funded at 90%, but the final budget came in far short of that.
You know, as we move forward, we're going to have to make sure that our schools are appropriately funded.
Now, again, the governor does tell us that he plans to make a decision on whether to run for a 3rd term soon here. Reporting in Beloit, Will Keneally, News 3 Now.
Summerfest wrapped up at the start of this month, and next year's festival dates are already being announced. The concert that stretches 3 weekends will be June 18th through the 20th, the 25th through the 27th, and July 2nd through the 4th. This year, just over 600,000 people went to Summerfest, up 8% from last year. 1 out of every 5 attendees gained admission through the festival's 13 admission promotions. Hozier, The Killers, Benson Boone all held sold-out shows at the American Family Insurance Amphitheater. Amtrak's Borealis train just hit a major milestone, welcoming over 250,000 riders since launching daily service last May. The route connecting Chicago and the Twin Cities saw a surge over the July 4th holiday weekend. State leaders from Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Illinois are praising the Borealis for offering a safe, reliable alternative to driving I-94. The route offers regional cafe options on board as well as views of the Mississippi River. Round-trip tickets are about $200 per person for the 7.5-hour train ride. Alex is back next. A complete look at your First Warn forecast and tomorrow's alert day conditions. And celebrating an historic landmark in Chicagoland, how a city there is honoring where Pope Leo grew up. That's next at 5. And mixed results on Wall Street today. The Dow tumbles more than 436 points. The Nasdaq adds 37.5. The S&P 500 loses about 25. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5. Moving forward.
Welcome back. Commuters using the Blackhawk Bridge over the Mississippi River will not have a bridge for at least a year. That bridge crosses near Lansing, Iowa and DeSoto. The new bridge set to open in 2027 with demolition on the current one scheduled for this fall. Construction started in 2023 and the Blackhawk Bridge has been closed temporarily twice. A water taxi service will be in place in the meantime. Otherwise, the nearest crossing is U.S. Highway 18 in Prairie du Chien. That's 45 minutes away from the DeSoto crossing. The village of Dolton, Illinois, just outside Chicago, has purchased the childhood home of Pope Leo XIV. The first American pope grew up in this modest home built in 1949. The village bought the home for $375,000. Dolton Mayor Jason House recently talked about bigger plans for the property and the neighborhood, and that includes ensuring the streets are properly patrolled.
There's historic status that we can apply for, a lot of funding that's available to us, and a lot of partnerships as well, because we want to make sure that we're doing things in the right manner. We know there will be tours of some fashion, whether that's a tour that comes inside the home, tours of people that are able to come by and just view the home.
The village also wants to buy another home nearby with plans to revitalize the block and beyond. NVIDIA had a strong start to today's pre-market trading after the chip-making giant announced it has resumed selling H-20 semiconductors to China. This move comes despite concerns that those products could boost Beijing's military and artificial intelligence capabilities. Both the Biden and Trump administrations place strict limits on what NVIDIA could sell to China. NVIDIA says sales began again shortly after this company's CEO met with President Trump, but the U.S. Commerce Department has not confirmed that the company has been granted permission to sell those items to China. The nation's inflation rate rose last month. The Bureau of Labor Statistics released Consumer Price Index data today. It reveals prices rose 0.3% last month. That boosted the annual inflation rate up to 2.7%, a high not seen since February. Analysts at FactSet say these findings were in line with what most economists had expected. The new numbers are a reversal in course from the tepid inflation data over the past few months. During that time, Americans saw gas prices fall and enjoyed weaker than usual travel prices. Children across the globe are not as protected medically as they could be. The World Health Organization and the UN Children's Fund out with the latest immunization report, and researchers found roughly 14.3 million children have never received a vaccine shot. Slightly more than half of those children were found in 9 countries, including Ethiopia, Nigeria, and Afghanistan. The report also notes nearly 6 million other children have only had some of the recommended vaccines, leaving them partially vulnerable to some preventable illnesses. Well, the summer heat is making many people lose their appetite, and there's a scientific reason why. Registered dietitian Julia Zumpano with Cleveland Clinic says our bodies naturally reduce hunger when temperatures rise. The process is called the thermic effect of food, where digestion creates heat our already warm bodies don't want. Health experts say even with reduced appetite, maintaining proper nutrition stays important.
Even focusing on hydrating foods can be very helpful, like watermelon and lettuce and celery and cucumbers, cherries and citrus fruits and strawberries. So all of those foods can be very hydrating, in addition to, of course, increasing your fluid intake.
She says if your appetite does decrease during the summer, well, lean into it. She says it can be helpful to keep you healthier, especially if you do put on some pounds in the winter months, a season which she says tends to have the opposite effect on our appetites. Alex is here with the forecast. Concerts on the Square. We've got the Northwoods League All-Star Game tomorrow as well in Madison, but could an alert day push the concert back? Here's Alex.
Yes, indeed, it certainly can, but there is a silver lining because there is another option for concerts on the Square. We'll talk about that and the reason why alert day conditions are expected from noon to approximately 7 p.m. on Wednesday. This is a very likely event. It has similarities to what we saw last Friday. So let's track this together right now using Future Track. Here's 12:30 in the afternoon. Southwest Wisconsin, thunderstorms popping up in Grant County, similar to what happened on last Friday, although it was a little bit later last Friday. But right around 1 o'clock, Southwest Wisconsin, these thunderstorms pop up on a circulating weather system. We call this a mesoconvective vortex. When you get that little bit of a twist in the atmosphere from this remnant of this rotation, these thunderstorms could rotate, so we could be looking at a couple of supercell thunderstorms in the afternoon, especially when the storms are isolated in nature. Staying a little bit more on the scattered side as we head towards 2 o'clock, but that thunderstorms stretching from the Wisconsin River Valley over towards the west part of Dane County. They start forming into a line as we head towards 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, getting into the Dells right down to Dane County to Monroe right around 4, 5 o'clock, and then off to the east, Juneau, Jefferson, Janesville, over towards Elkhorn around 5, 6 o'clock, and then that line of thunderstorms presses off towards the east. Concerts on the Square starts at 7, but these thunderstorms will still be very close. Lightning can still occur behind these thunderstorms, so we're having a very, very tight and close collaboration with our friends with Concerts on the Square as to whether or not we should host it or not host the concert on Wednesday. Can't rule out an isolated shower storm after that. Level 2 out of 5 risk of severe weather. Lone Rock, Dells, Platteville areas to the east. That means scattered severe thunderstorms are likely, with the main threat being damaging winds, heavy rainfall, but we can't rule out large hail and a couple of tornadoes, especially when those storms, or if those storms, I should stay a little bit more separated from one another before they form into a line. Here's my Concerts on the Square forecast. 5 o'clock, thunderstorms likely around the Madison area, if not in the Madison area. A call will be made, if not before 3 p.m. Wednesday, as to whether or not the concerts will be held on Wednesday. But Thursday is another option for us, and I think you will be pleasantly surprised when you see the forecast for Thursday. Lows tonight, muggy. Turn the AC on, shut the windows, and enjoy the AC. If you don't have AC, find a place to cool down a bit. It's going to be very warm and humid with good chances for thunderstorms as that line of storms moves across southern Wisconsin on Wednesday. The muggy meter, here's the good stuff. On Thursday, we dry out. Temperatures fall into the 70s. We have comfy conditions. So if Concerts on the Square is moved to Thursday as a rain option, you got a beautiful evening in store with cool temperatures and comfy humidity levels compared to the past couple of weeks where it's been warm and humid. Taking us out even further than that, 72. That's our high temperature on Thursday. That's 10 degrees below normal on Thursday. Pleasant on Friday, highs of 77. Then we inch the mercury back up. Highs going back into the 80s, lows in the 60s to near 70, with nearly daily rain and thunderstorm chances starting up Saturday, going through Sunday, going on into Monday, and well out into next week. Coming up tonight at 6, we'll do another track of those thunderstorms using Future Track. But again, I'm going to keep moving us forward into the rest of July. Do we still have warmer than normal temperatures in the forecast and above normal precipitation chances? I'll let you know tonight at 6. Eric?
All right, Alex, thank you. And next at 5, the latest on that bear attack of a woman in Barron County and just how common these interactions are in Wisconsin. That's just ahead.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
A 69-year-old woman in Wisconsin is hospitalized after a black bear attacked her over the weekend. It happened up in Comstock in Barron County in the northwestern part of the state. John Lauritsen has more.
For me, I've never seen 4 baby cubs.
Brian Sommerfeld lives and farms on the same road as the woman who was mauled by a black bear on Saturday. He says the animals pass through the area all the time, but this year he's seen more than usual, including this rare video he took of a sow with 4 cubs.
We really respect them, but I could see how they could sneak right up on you, so can't hear them.
Sommerfeld says he's staying alert while praying his neighbor recovers. When the Wisconsin DNR and the USDA arrived at this property where the attack happened, they found a black bear cub in a tree, but there was no sign of the cub's mother. They've been using a hound dog and traps to try and find the bear who mauled the woman, with the intention of euthanizing it so they can assess its condition.
Bears are recolonizing areas that they formerly were in, pre-European settlements.
Andy Try is the bear project leader for the Minnesota DNR. He says the animals have been moving further south and further west in recent years.
In the old days, we used to solve a lot of black bear problems with bullets, and now people are just generally more tolerant of them.
Many are yearlings kicked out by their mothers as the sows look to breed again. This year, Try says they've received reports of black bears as far south as Jackson County near the Iowa border. This photo shows a bear in a field near Montevideo.
Well, they'll probably not set up in large populations out in the heavy-duty ag country, but just knowing that bear range is expanding is a helpful thing.
Try says the animals are typically after grills, garbage, and bird feeders. And while black bears aren't inherently dangerous, they will protect their cubs.
Make yourself big, make some noise, back out, that sort of thing, and try to get the kids and the dogs inside. But just making sure you're not feeding or approaching bears.
The woman attacked, has been reported to be in critical condition. Stay with us. We'll be back. Final check of your first warn forecast in just a moment.
There are now smartphone apps to help people avoid immigration agents. We look at the debate on whether that should be allowed.
And rising danger. The latest data shows a growing frequency in flash floods, such as those that just hit Texas and the Northeast. Lonnie Quinn explains why tonight on the CBS Evening News.
Coming up at 6, the man accused of kidnapping a pregnant Beaver Dam teen was in court this afternoon. Once again, we'll tell you what we know about the case and much more coming your way. Top of the hour news 3 now at 6. Nominees for television's top honor. The Emmys were announced today. Apple TV Plus series Severance led the way, 27 nominations. The Penguin on HBO Max collected 24. The Studio and White Lotus each picked up 23 nominations. The 77th Primetime Emmy Awards will be broadcast live on CBS. It'll be September 14th. Comedian Nate Bargatze is set to host. Alex is back. A final check of the forecast and keeping a close eye on tomorrow.
Yeah, alert day conditions on Wednesday. Going to be a stormy day across all of southern Wisconsin. If you have any plans between noon and 7 p.m., you need to have that severe weather preparedness plan ready to execute because we likely will have some severe weather in southern Wisconsin. All forms possible, strong winds, hail. We can't rule out a couple of isolated tornadoes, but I think strong winds will be the main threat, and we certainly will have some heavy rainfall with that line of thunderstorms. But after that line of storms comes through, I know we have Concerts on the Square. Concerts on the Square has an alternative rain date. That would be Thursday, provided Thursday is looking good, and it's looking great, if not chilly. 72 for high temperature on Thursday. Lows Thursday night will be in the 50s. So if Concerts on the Square is moved to Thursday, you may want to consider now thinking about maybe bundling up just a touch on Thursday evening. 77 on Friday, and then the mercury goes back up. Temperatures well back into the 80s. Lows in the 60s to near 70, and stormy weather conditions on and off much of next week. And at 6, the latest on the warmth and the potential for water all the way through the end of the month.
And stay with us throughout the evening hours, and we'll keep a close eye on the plans for tomorrow. Concerts on the Square. Thanks for joining us. CBS Evening News is next. We're back in 30 minutes for News 3 Now at 6. You can always find us streaming 24/7 at Channel 3000+.